So this is Spyway Barn, old farmhouse on its own. As I say, this is National Trust now, used for a lot of adventure stuff. Schools come out here. There's just a bit about everything here. Just showing you what's about. Conservation, walks, and the outdoor activities. We used to come down here in the 1980s. I used to come down here with my two daughters when they were young, and my brother-in-law and his boys. And we used to come down, we used to go rock climbing and abseiling, which is hopefully what I'm going to show you today. So this is the way we go. It's very atmospheric, walking into the mist. I've done this a few times actually. It's just not uncommon to be misty like this. It's a shame because at the moment we're not going to see all the really good views. Anyway, we'll see how we get on. Because when you walk along like this, you realise how easy it is to get lost. You can hardly see anything behind now, and there's a bit of a hedge line and that looming out of the darkness, the mist. I've walked in Scotland so many times like this. You really need to know where you are all the time. You need to be following a map and compass. Otherwise, you can see how easy it is just to get lost and just wander around in the gloom. Right, I'm above the slope down to the sea, down to the coast now. It's typical, isn't it? I've made all this effort to come out and make this film showing the spectacular views along the Dorset coast here, and you can't see a blooming thing. I should be doing a video on navigating in fog with map and compass. Well, in front of me is an amazing vista out to the sea, going down to dancing ledges straight ahead here, and I shall be going down and along to Headbury Quarry. Headbury Quarry was where we used to come in the 1980s. As I said, used to come along here with my brother-in-law. He had 4 boys, two mainly at that time when our 2 daughters were young, who were similar ages to them. And we used to come down and we used to camp for the weekend, and we used to go rock climbing, abseiling, and it was great. And I think they had a wonderful time. There's all sorts of this is amazing coastline just along here. All these banks. They're not improved. They're just grazed, so they're just full of wildflowers, rare wildflowers. Lots of orchids along here. Early spider orchid. I was down here a couple of years ago, and all the early spider orchids were in flower. But I don't know if we'll see any this morning. But I shall keep my eye open. Anyway, it's a long way down and an even longer way back. I used to carry all the camping stuff, all the climbing gear down here and back again on Sunday. Couldn't do it now, I don't think. I was here one time. I was with my daughter Chantal. I don't know what she was, 13, something like that. And a friend of mine, James Watson, he was a wildlife conservation chap. He was a ranger. And we came down here. I think we just came down for the day. But anyway, we were going back, beautiful afternoon, walking back up here, up the slope. And we just stopped for a rest. And we just laid in the grass there. And I said to Mira, there's an early spider orchid flowering just here where we just happened to be. And he was very excited. So we took some photos. And as soon as he got home, he phoned up some friends of his and told them there's early spider orchids down, told them where it was. And they immediately left in the car to drive down here to come and have a look for them. So that was a happy little coincidence where we just stopped and there they were. I don't think we're going to find any this morning. It never works out when you're looking for something like this. I'll tell you all about it and we won't see it. I am keeping my eye open here. I'll let you know if I see any. Well, there you are. That's looking out over Dancing Ledge, disappearing into the gloom. There's some school parties, adventure party down there. We use it all the time now. It's great because it's safe for abseiling and climbing there. I'd better show you something that's here. This is just by the side of the path there. That's a wild thyme. It's ever so common here. There's a hawk bit. There's loads of hawk bits. Yeah, this wild thyme there. I'm not seeing much else of any real interest. There's a plant I know. It's called wild gladioli. It's a small red gladioli. And it's a native species, but it's very rare. And I know of one stand of them in the New Forest at Holmesley. But it's the only one I know. And as I say, it only grows along the south coast in odd little pockets. And one day my wife and I, we were down at Swanage here visiting a couple of friends of ours. So they live here. And we were just having a walk along Swanage, along the main thoroughfare there by the beach. Masses of people walking about. And it goes back to a sort of cliff and that, which erodes, which is what had happened. I said, we're just walking along. And I thought, that's wild gladioli growing there. And I said to Jane, who we were with, I said, surely that's wild gladiola. And they said, yeah, it is, that's right. Nobody knows, nobody's noticed. But they said, yeah, it is. It's where the ground has just eroded a bit there. And it's just obviously exposed a bit where there were some seeds and that. And it was quite funny I've hunted this plant. I've seen it a couple of times flowering in the forest. But you would hunt this plant down. And here it is growing with loads of people walking by it, oblivious, no idea what it is, growing there. So that's what happens. I thought that was something just there, but No, I shall keep looking. We'll be at Headbury Quarry soon. I still can't see anything. Yes. Right, well, we're just coming up to Headbury Quarry. There we go. I'm going to go down into that. This is where we used to come. We used to camp here for the weekend in the caves, which I will show you. There we go. Would do if I can get through. Right. Right, we're just above Headbury Quarry here. We used to abseil that cliff opposite there. We used to put a belay point at the top and come down just opposite there. And we also used to come down, this was quite good, where it overhangs there, goes into sort of the cave and that there. We used to abseil down there because you had to hang loose. So in fact, I might have a couple of photos taken there. And that was quite good because you hung loose for the last bit and just rappelled down. That was all good fun. Long time ago now. Right. I know you'd love me to fall down here, which is quite a possibility. Of course, these quarries, this is where they quarried the Purbeck stone, which they used all sorts, large buildings, cathedrals. They used to take it. I think St Paul's is built of it, or partly built of it. It's a lovely stone to work, apparently, because it's quite soft. When you first dig it out, it's quite soft, and the masons were able to shape it up and that, and then it goes really, really hard. Once it's exposed to the weather and that, it goes really hard. So this is an old cannon. This goes back to, I believe, Napoleonic times, when old Napoleon was threatened to invade us. And so they had defences along the coast, of which apparently this is one of them. So he's been there what, good couple of 100 years. This is where we used to do most of our abseiling and climbing. Here we go. See, it's all very straightforward. Brings back a lot of memories. Here with two little girls and Pete's boys. I've got some video, I'll try and put a bit on this, of Paul and Adam, Pete's two eldest boys. I think Paul was about 11 and I think Adam was about 13. And they did a climb here. I think it was just here actually. Yeah. happy times. I enjoyed it. I'm sure they did as well. I still see Pete, and we do talk about it sometimes. They talk about coast steering now, and you can pay a fortune and go on a coast steering holiday. And that, well, we invented that in the 80s when the kids we were all here. And what we used to do, just opposite there, we used to abseil down there, down onto the ledge, and then we used to swim across down to this ledge down here and get out, and then we used to climb up on this side. So I think that's pretty much what coast steering is like nowadays, but it didn't have a name in those days. But there we were doing that 40 years ago. Right, I will now show you the caves. So I'll just take you through now, give you the full cave experience. There's wild cabbage here. It grows. It's a plant of sea areas. That's wild cabbage. That's where all your cabbages and cauliflowers, kale. That's where it all came from. Right. So we're now entering the cave. So this is where they dug the rock out. Right, I can't actually see a lot, so I am going to just step a bit carefully. I should be okay. I won't bother to get the phone out for a light. I think I should be okay, said he. Very damp, the rocks. I remember it being fairly difficult, but I think the advancing years haven't made me any more agile. There. Right, we're getting there. Right, so unscathed, I've made it, he says, I've managed to get through to the far side. So this is where we've camped here, and I remember sleeping on these ledges. I remember sleeping up there. Well, I say sleeping. Yeah. I have been here with people who've been scared to come in here, but I'm a bit fatalistic, because it did cross my mind when we were camped in here. It used to cross my mind that there's thousands of tons of rock on top of us here, held up by a couple of what are fairly flimsy sort of pillars and that. So it does strike you as possibly being a bit dangerous. But the way I look at it is, well, it's been here for a couple of 100 years and it hasn't fallen down yet. So it's unlikely to fall down the few hours that I'll be in here. which proved to be the case because I'm still here. Right, so it's like a lost world. More cabbages. You can eat it. And here we are. It's quite exciting for kids, you can imagine. We used to come down here in the summer. Try and get down here once a month. Yeah, see, people still come because people have had fires and that. I know people come and do overnight fishing here. Oop. So that's where we've come from. We've come round from there. As I say, you can imagine it's great for kids. A weekend here, just exploring, and we used to make sure they did things properly. There's a bit of a crack here. So, ooh, it is a bit of a crack. So all that's going to give way one day. I should be stood here one day and the whole lot will collapse into the sea. Right, so this is the main cave we used to sleep in, as evidently many other people have as well. Frank there, he's been here, Robert there, Nellie, Sammy, Henley by the look of it, Katie, Kitty, Jack. Yeah, they've all been here, you see. I'm sure we wrote, oh no, Theo's been here, wow. I'm sure we've all put our names on here at some point. Somebody's put a belay point in there. Seems a bit of an odd place to put it. Huh. Yeah. I'll put a little bit of video from just here. I can remember sitting here with a little portable barbecue. The girls were here. I can remember a niece here trying to open a bottle. Chantal was doing amateur dramatics and that at the time at college, and she was being very theatrical, and I was drinking cider. And that was our table, the rock there, as it's been for many years for other people. Yeah, so there. Happy times. I probably already said that. So this is the other. Now this is quite an impressive cave. Again. Oh yes. Oh. So you can hear it sounds real cave-like. Again, there's not a lot holding it up when you look at it. If I hear it start creaking, I might beat a retreat. Yes, so here it is. I have known parties be held here. We have come down here a couple of times and not be able to camp in here because there was a massive party going on. That happened 2 or 3 times. Yeah. I remember one time Peter and I, and we were fathoming out what we're going to do. So we said, I'll just take you over and show you over so you know what I'm talking about. It was just here somewhere. I'm sure thought there was a belay point here. Anyway, so we we were here. We decided that what we'd do is abseil down to the ledge. I can't quite see over here. We are. If I hold this out, you might be able to see what I'm talking about. So we abseiled down to a ledge there, and then we checked that we could climb it back up again, and it was okay. So we pulled the rope down so that we could climb it. And I forget who was going to climb it. I think it might have been me, but I won't argue the toss as to who was going to climb it. Anyway, it was more difficult than we thought. So I think I had a go, and this is a bit more serious than we thought. So Pete had a go. He couldn't do it either. So we were trying to figure out what we were going to do. So we decided the only thing we could do would be to swim across. And I can't remember exactly the details, but I think we had one more go and managed to climb it and get out. But it just to show how careful you've got to be with these things. And anyway, we lived to tell the tale, and all was well. You probably think I'm a raving lunatic. Right, so let's carry on. I will just say that the one thing you'll notice when you see any pictures of my 2 daughters who I talk about, when they're here or when I used to take them to Scotland doing equally ludicrous things in winter, they have always got all the gear and they're always wrapped up. I never took any chances. They always knew what they were doing, and that's why we all lived to tell the tale with no injuries. And a bit of luck as well. So that takes you back up, and just at the top of the cliffs there, that's the coastal path. So this is about it really. That's what I wanted to show you. So this is Headbury Quarry. Lots of memories for me. Yeah. There's a few buoys out. I don't know what they're marking. There's one here and there's one further down a bit. They don't encourage climbing. In the 80s, it was of course very different. In fact, there were routes. There was a book and of the routes along here. There was a few routes marked out just along here, but I don't think anything like that's available anymore because it's deemed to be a bit dangerous, which it is, as you can see. So I'll do my best not to slip over the edge. The trouble is the camera's not waterproof. If it ends up in the water, nobody will be able to see this amazing piece of film I'm making. There's puffins around here. I've never seen them myself, but I know people who have seen them. I believe they're round over to the left over there, or they were. But there are seabirds in that nest in these cliffs, and I know that, as I say, I know there are puffins. Yeah. Well, I'm going to have a little reminisce now. So there, I've had me little reminisce, and I've just come up the path now. I'm above Headbury Quarry, and there's the coastal path ahead of me. I'm going to start making my way back, and if the weather holds out, I'll have a look at Dancing Ledge on the way back, because I'll go by it. Try and get over this stile now. Yeah, that's quite nice. That's mallow, just growing on the path here. Nothing rare about it. It's a common weed. Quite nice. Brambles. Be some lovely blackberries there. Another couple of months. There we are. We used to call these hardheads. Can't remember their name now. And there's loads of thyme, wild thyme. That's just ordinary wild thyme all through there. There's a yarrow, another common weed you'll know from your garden or your lawn. They range, they're sort of white like that, but they can be pink as well. And I've seen quite a few walking along that have been quite pink. It's lovely. I've got nothing particular to do now. My goal for today was really just to have a walk and to go down to Headbury Quarry, just show you all of that. So it's quite nice to just have the time to just take some time and have a wander along. This is bindweed there. You get the bigger ones, which are mainly white. There's a nice little pink one there. There's all sorts of small sort of oxeye daisy types there. Bees are all just buzzing about, minding their own business, doing their bee things. Yeah, it's beautiful through here because you never know what you're going to find. It's nice because you can just lose yourself like this, because I've got nowhere specific to head towards or distance to cover as long as I get back to the car. There's a good mound of time. There's quite a few skylarks. It's lovely. This is ideal ground for skylarks here. I know you're going to ask me what this plant is here, and I can't for the life of me remember. I'll try and look it up, put it on there. More walkers walking along the path. Yes, this is a bindweed, but it's not the one that you see climbing up your chain link fences and that, and being a pest in your garden. This is a small growing sea version, coastal. Now you can see the pink in the yarrow there. They tend to lighten as they open up. I don't know if you can see anything of what's going on here. They're all having a good time. Been a few shrieks along the way. We got a couple climbing behind me here. Usually get a few timid ones at the back. I'd have been one of them at their age. I think they're all having a good time. No, he's not having it. Or she. Whoa! Oh dear. Whoa. Wow. This was always a bit of a slog back up the hill, even 40 years ago, but I did tend to be carrying a lot of stuff there with the camping stuff and climbing ropes and what have you. But I must admit, the years have taken their toll. You just got to take your time. It is a bit of a slog. There we are, the group I've just passed, going down, just disappearing into the mist. Load of kids, all having a great time. Good to see kids doing these things, because at least they're getting a bit of adventure. That proper adventure tests their mettle, which is good. So I've reached the top, thank goodness. That's a bit of a slog now, but there you are, it wasn't too bad. And so I'm just catching my breath before I do the last bit. Good to see kids down there doing those things, because they take a bit of courage to do what they were doing. And it's good they're safe, it's supervised. Difference when we were young is we tended to be unsupervised, and so there was always the potential, and things did happen. I mean, that's the truth of it. But we did learn a lot. We learned to solve problems, because if we got into trouble, we had to get ourselves out of it. And that's what was a bit different. But it's great to see kids doing adventurous things like this. And it's been a good day. Well, I'm sorry you haven't really seen much. This is the most beautiful view from here down along the coast, but you'll have to just take my word for it. And I'll come back another time and it'll be good. But it's not been windy. It was windy yesterday. I couldn't do it yesterday, and we wouldn't have seen any more yesterday anyway, but it was too windy. And the rain kept off. It's just a little bit damp. It's just low cloud, really. It's just sort of misty and that. As I said earlier, this is what it used to be like a lot of the time in Scotland, especially when you got up above the cloud level. So there we are. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. Anyway, I'm going back to the car, and we'll then be stopping off somewhere to have something to eat. I've had a great day. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I'll catch you on the next video.